Welcome back to the studio, guys. Day two is going quickly, but it's been really good so far. Marketing day, I guess we could probably have a whole week where we're talking about marketing related subjects. It's been really interesting discussions and panel discussions so far. Yeah, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit, Pierre, and kind of get your take on what we've been hearing so far from our marketing day. Yeah, and get your opinion on everything.
Yeah, no, it's been a really interesting day so far. I are now, taking over from the traditional banking world, which kind of alludes a little bit to the point that we were making, which is that the new generation, they prioritize speed over trust.
Yeah.
Trust is something that the new generation is kind of taking for granted these days.
Yeah.
Whereas like what Gavin and Jesper were talking about is like, around a decade ago, there was a lot of bad actors on the market. So rightfully so, there were a lot of mistrust. These days, people don't have a problem to trust, a new company like Revolut with their salary, for example. And I don't think we would have seen that 10 years ago, for example.
No.
And another interesting parallel to be drawn from that is also the fact that the new generation, they also don't care too much about their own privacy, it seems like, in a lot of ways. Like you see the kids have no problem using social media like TikTok or Facebook to give away their privacy without a second thought, to be able to use these platforms. And that's also something will be interesting to see how that then reflects into gaming as well. So I love that panel. And other than that, I mean, we've had some other really interesting discussions today. I really loved the presentation of Peter with Internet Vikings, with his case studies on Casumo and Wonderino. Really interesting. Yeah, even I mean the discussion with Nick Garner and Robin Eric Reed, that Sam was moderating. I think Sam had the easiest time ever to moderate a panel. He didn't even have to say a word. No. There was a lot to be discussed between Nick and Robin Reed, of course. So many interesting discussions. I mean, it's fantastic.
No, exactly. As I said, there's so much interesting discussions and topics going on that we could probably have a whole week of this event only talking about marketing, because marketing relates to everyone, in some way or the other, especially in this industry. Yes. So a lot of interesting things going on, but the day is not over yet. We have still a lot of panel discussions and speakers to look forward to coming up today. Well, next up, we actually have quite an interesting one, the future of SEO. This is given by Marcus Tandler, co-founder and chief evangelist at Right GmbH, and he's joined by Bob Rains, who is SEO executive, brand marketer, and growth marketing strategist. So I think that will be quite an interesting discussion between those two about the future of SEO.
No, I've been following the discussions a little bit on social media between these two guys, and Marcus Tandler is an absolute legend in the SEO world. He's a TED speaker, and I encourage you guys after this event is over now to go on YouTube and check his presentation he gave for TED on the future trends of SEO. It's a fantastic presentation, actually, really interesting, even for me, who is not really an SEO type person, but it's just very interesting and inspiring to hear him talk about the kind of Google, how it came to be, and the trends now as we see going forward. And I know that Marcus and Bob, they have some history together doing panels previously. And they have been talking on social media that they are excited to get back together, and they want to do something special for us today. So that would be interesting. That would be interesting to see as well.
Great. And I think also that Bob and Marcus would want you to come with some questions as well. So don't hesitate to ask questions, and enjoy, guys. And we'll see you a little bit later. Bye.
Start with an impulse. A desire of a notion. That unstoppable urge to create something extraordinary. Get your project started. iPoint International.
The future is now. The future is now. The future is now.
Ideas start with an impulse. A desire of a notion. That unstoppable urge to create something extraordinary. Get your project started. iPoint International.
Welcome to our panel. Welcome, iGaming audience. What's up? This is Bob coming from British Columbia, from the lovely island of Bowen. Also Bowen Island, I think that's what
Bowen
it's called.
Island, British Columbia. That's correct.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay,
Bowen
then I do it
Island.
myself, and I'm coming from Munich. So there's a huge time difference between us. For me, it's 1 o'clock, also 1:25, obviously. And for Bob, it's actually 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, I think normally if we would be in a room together, and most of you guys know Bob, we would give a big round of applause for his dedication to getting up at 3:30, walking his dog to make this panel happen. So I'm really great. This worked out. Thanks so much for inviting me to this panel. I'm stoked to be here alongside my old friend, Bob Rains. We used to do these panels together like 10, 15 years ago, and boy, did this industry change. And this is exactly what we want to talk about today. Today, it's about the future of SEO. You know, we have half an hour, so this is great. The future of SEO, a largely complex topic, and we've got 30 minutes to talk about it, but I'm really looking forward to it. But first of all, maybe if you guys don't know us, maybe introduce us real quick. Maybe you want to start, Bob? Just give a quick introduction
Sure.
to everyone.
SEO, I've been working in gaming now for like 20 years. I managed global SEO for Bodog, for Everest Poker, for Absolute Poker, Ultimate Bet, as well as Betfair, where I was globally in charge of acquisition. And after that, I went on to work in growth for CBS Interactive, and now I'm a consultant. I still work a bit in gaming.
Awesome. Also, a couple quick words about me. I'm Marcus. I'm coming to you from Germany. I'm the co-founder of Right. We are the #1 platform for website quality management. We got over 1 million users to our platform. Most people would say we are an SEO tool, which is an area we're really strong at, but we always aim higher, focusing on optimizing for the user and not for search engines. I'm also chief evangelist, AKA the heavy user of our own tool. So 90% of my time, I'm helping our customers extracting more value from our software and assisting them as a SEO sparring partner or just a competent second opinion whenever there's need of one. I've been in the industry for, well, about 23 years now, and I love SEO. And that's about it. So without much further ado, we only have half an hour. Let's talk about the future of SEO. But I think if we want to talk about the future of SEO, we need to establish a common ground on what will eventually be the future of search, because obviously this has the biggest impact on the future of SEO. In my opinion, the future of search is definitely going to be more mobile and therefore also more personal. You know, for us SEOs, this has a definite impact in regards to the data we should use, because it's now even more important to rely on Google Search Console data instead of third-party scrape data, which will give you only a snapshot on a very limited set of keywords, while Google Search Console always allows you to see the whole picture. Another emerging trend are so-called passive searches. Right now, most searches are performed actively, so people typing, saying their question, and Google providing an answer. In the future of search, there will be a lot more passive searches. So Google trying to anticipate questions you might have and answer these questions proactively. Contextual clues like your current location, a specific entry in your calendar. There's so many personal data points which can give a hint at what kind of information you might be interested in right now. And this has been Google's vision all along. There's this famous quote from Sergey Brin, I think it's around 2012, 2013, he said, "My vision when we started Google 15 years ago was that eventually you wouldn't have to have a search query at all. You would just have information come to you as you need it." And the first glimpse into this future is Google Discover, which was introduced in September of 2018, I think. And ever since then, Google puts a lot of effort into understanding exactly what users are interested in and surfacing interesting content in their Discover feed. And this trend is extremely important for Google, since they had to come up with a valid strategy to compete with Amazon for transactional queries. And this is why Amazon is Google's biggest competitor, at least that is what Eric Schmidt has been saying a couple of times, because Google is great with informational, with navigational queries, but there's not a lot of money to be made with these kinds of searches. Advertisers are more likely to spend their ad dollars for transactional queries. And these days, there are a lot of people who will head straight to Amazon without consulting Google anymore. So Google would like to be better at predicting specific product interest and then offering specific deals to enable the sale before the user even thinks about surfing to Amazon. And another trend, which is hugely important for SEO in the near future, Google is increasingly becoming better at understanding natural language. The buzzword for this is BERT, which you might have heard of, also DeepRank, which describes the same concept. And BERT helps Google understand queries and questions so much better. And due to the open source nature of BERT and virtually everybody in big tech building their own birds like Facebook Roberta or Google's Electra, and basically new models trained with insane amounts of queries and data, basically teaching the machine to read and understand at least high school level, which is probably well enough to answer 98% of the queries.
Right.
So this is sort of like the big emerging trends I see regarding the future of search. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like there's this heavy march to the bigger data research, you know, like the days of stacking one query with a ton of links and then ranking for it, I think are long dead. Like that used to be the trick, right? You'd pick your money term and pound it into the ground.
Absolutely. Always keep pounding.
Yeah, right. And it worked. It would work. Like it was a matter of, is it more links or not for the longest time.
Absolutely.
And then not getting caught for those links was the second game for a long time. Yeah, but it seems like that. And then, the rich snippets, the different ways to tag your site seem to be more and more the direction to go for how search is arranging itself in the future.
Mm-hmm. So, so now that we agree, sort of like we have the same kind of vision, the same kind of sight at the future of search, where search will develop, and I think it's going to be like a rapid movement, especially with Bird, with everybody basically in big tech, like really jumping on that bandwagon, training their own birds, whatever they're called. Has really like, it's just as the speed of innovation here is just amazing, and this will open up so much more possibilities for these search engines, and especially Google in our case, to really understand human language. And I think this is increasingly important for SEO because, as you just said, Bob, before we couldn't care less about the user. Who cares about the user? You would just like, this is what I want to rank for. Here's a couple of links. I'm trying to make it look legit, but obviously nobody's naturally linking to an affiliate website in the poker or casino space or whatever, right? So it needed to look legit, and then you would basically just rank, and it would work. It would work like a charm. But now with all these developments where search is actually heading, we're really seeing, just a much better Google, which will make it so much harder for actually continuing this, like trying to game the system. And
it's like, if you think about sports, for example, right? Like, how are you going to, as an affiliate or as a gaming portal, even compete with the amount of data that like Sportsnet or CBS Sports has?
Absolutely.
Just, unless you're paying for all those same feeds, unless you've got a staff of editorial writers, it's just impossible to compete.
Absolutely. And this thing, what you just said, I think is a very important point, because back then you would have, like, especially the big websites, the big networks, a CNET, a CBS, which will be, like, just not as good in SEO because of the millions of pages they have, like making them rank for these specific keywords. And then you would have an affiliate who basically is just doing SEO and just working on his website, and so he has had a much better chance of actually ranking for that query instead of the big network. But now I think ever since 2009, the WINS update, like the whole, how Eric Schmidt said, this is how we drain the cesspool, with brands are the solution to draining the cesspool, that where really like brands got this natural push, which looks a little bit like going back to 1998 and being like a Yahoo directory kind of thing. But in fact, this is just representative of what people actually want. They want to see these brands. They want to find
who's got the answers,
Absolutely.
Who's really got the answers. That's the...
Absolutely. I can't really, I mean, you're really in the gaming space, you're really one of the names in the gaming space, in the SEO gaming space. With Right, as I said, we have over 1 million users. We have a lot of people in the gaming space, but I actually work only with a couple of them. I only work with a selected couple of these kind of sites. So you have much more experience in that field. I can just come from my side, like looking at the future of SEO, and I see three big trends. And maybe you can tell me if this resonates in specifically in that casino niche as well. So for us, when I'm working with our customers all the time, I see the three trends. First of all, structured data, structure all the things. That's a great way to enlarge your screen space, which is basically your real estate in the SERPs, star ratings, FAQ page schema, additional info about product pricing and availability. Microdata really offers a great way to enrich your content with more information. And Google has moved from mobile first to AI first, and structured data is extremely important for Google to ultimately reach this goal, because Google needs to pull all relevant data on the fly, which JSON LD is making possible, to achieve an AI experience which really feels natural. If you still have to rely on crawling an AI would never really feel natural because it would be too difficult and time consuming to come up with the desired information. So I see this as a really big trend. Besides probably star rating, FAQ page schema, like do you see this a lot also in the gaming scene? Are these SERP features triggered by structured data also visible in a lot of these casino, poker, whatever kind of gaming?
I think probably more in the sports side of things because, again, there's a lot more data to work with. I mean, what can you say about slot machines that hasn't been said? Like, how do you add on?
The book of Ra.
Right, like, here's a machine designed to take your money. Here's how we designed it to take your money. You know, it's kind of a little bit harder sell for content, but yeah, I think so. In sports, you definitely see the value of data streams.
Mm-hmm. And I think it is extremely important. I mean, just what I just said. I will give you a real life example. So let's say for us it's noon right now, and I want to go to a restaurant, and I want to see which restaurant has a special offer for lunch for Krustenbraten, also for a typical Bavarian dish. I mean, obviously, this is a bad example because right now all restaurants are closed. But in the normal world without Corona, I would be looking at a query like, "Hey Google, which restaurant in 15 minutes walking distance has a Krustenbraten on their lunch menu?" Right? And if Google were to crawl all restaurant websites, having to see, okay, where is it located? Could this be reachable in 15 minutes? Does it have an instance of the word Krustenbraten on the page? And is it really for like lunch and not like on the general
dinner specials,
special, whatever, right? So if you just crawl the data, it's like really hard to come up, you know, with an answer, with a very good answer to this like very specific question. And it also would take a long time. You would ask this question, you're like, "Hey Google, are you still here? Hugo, do you hear my question?" Right? But with structured data, you can basically supply this information alongside your normal content, and especially with restaurants, it's really easy. It has a physical address. It has, you can define a lunch special. You can define if it's when it's open and what it costs. If it's accessible with disabilities, whatever, this can all be supplied with structured data, and they can pull this. You know, they can pull this like right away, and this is how they can answer these kinds of questions. How they will be able to answer these questions right away. And I think there's also a lot of like examples I could imagine in the sports world, in the gaming world, like saying, I want to place a bet on Bayern Munich versus Dortmund, which we won, by the way, 3-2. So I want to place a bet on Bayern Munich versus Dortmund. Which website has the best quotes, right? So I don't want to like search by Bayern Munich, BVB, also Borussia Dortmund quotes, and then I get all these websites, and I would have to look myself on them. I want Google to give me what's the best quote, what's the best. I'm sorry, I've never done sports betting. But you would search for something like that, right? And so
you get the best odds for what you want to bet on.
The odds. And I think this is something where structured data could be helpful because people will learn that these kinds of query are possible. And I think who jumps on that bandwagon first, like really enabling this experience, will be ahead in the future.
Yeah. I mean, even if you think about the election, all of the queries and all the search of people looking for Trump odds versus Biden odds, I mean, there's a ton of user interest in that. But at the same time, it's low value, right? Like, not people are actually going out to bet that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the odds were pretty slim, or at least I could imagine. And also, I think I also wanted to bet some money on it. But on the other hand, it's like they're betting on something really bad to happen doesn't sound like a good idea to me. Because I think this is where the odds were, right? So other than that, structured data, another topic which is really dominant, at least in my day-to-day work, is performance optimization. The page experience update will supposedly happen in May next year. Actually, just yesterday, Google announced they might even be introducing labels within the search results. This is very interesting. You might have seen this with AMP, this lightning bolt kind of thing, and this could be something they want to introduce to the SERPs as well. So it's really important to get your web vitals in order to provide a fast loading experience to your users. If you haven't heard about the web vitals yet, those are KPIs representative for 3 important stages in the user experience: the loading part, and this is the LCP, the largest contentful paint. So basically, how long does it take to load the biggest image on that site, which really makes it sort of like, okay, now I'm on the website. Then you have the interactivity part, which is covered with FID, the first input delay. So how many seconds does it take if I click on something, I open up the website, I click on something before it actually responds. And then last but not least, the visual stability, which is the KPI CLS, the cumulative layout shift. You all know and are annoyed by this, when you open up a website and you're trying to click on something, but then the whole layout shifts and you click on something completely different and it's an ad for whatever weird thing your wife just shopped and now you're on that, I go into details, right? So CLS, everybody can relate. This is really, really sucky. But besides these, you should also make sure to ensure mobile friendliness. This should be a no-brainer in the mobile-first world. Be mindful of a safe browsing experience. So HTTPS for the win. I mean, all resources, also images, scripts, avoid these mixed content issues, which might have an effect also with Chrome actually flagging the website. You don't want to have that. And also, last point, non-intrusive interstitials, which I think this industry is quite active in. But this is definitely something you also want to be mindful of. How often are these requests in the sports, in the gaming, in the gaming industry right now?
Yeah, especially like when you think about the interstitials, right? That's something that everyone has got to wean themselves from. It's been, it's a way to increase conversion, but it can hurt your SERPs. I was at CBS and we got slapped for interstitials, which we had them everywhere, And it's funny when you're at a big corporation versus like a gaming affiliate, you get an email sent to everybody's boss saying, if you don't stop doing this, we're going to knock you out of the SERPs.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then you're in the battle with the different teams for monetization. It's like, hold on, that's how we make our money. Yeah, well, we're going to have to figure out a new way to make our money.
Because you effectively won't make any money anymore with this practice.
Yeah, if they turn off the hose of traffic, everything's dead to us.
Yeah, but this, this makes a lot of sense because people are annoyed by these kind of things. This is not the first time. For example, Forbes. I won't click on Forbes only if they're if they would be the only result, because especially if you go on Forbes, you see these ads everywhere, interstitials, self-running videos, which is like the most annoying thing, that you go to a website and immediately some video is running blaring from the loudspeakers. And you're like,
you're searching through the tabs. Where is this garbage? What is this annoying thing?
Man, this is crazy. And these are the pages who actually lose, because people avoid them, they click on them, jump right back, these kinds of behaviors. And this is what Google is seeing. And then they see, well, people don't like Forbes anymore, so I guess we shouldn't rank them so good anymore. And this is exactly what's happening. Google is just listening to the user. Coming back to my own point, my first point, you shouldn't optimize for the search engine, but it's the user.
Thankfully, you don't see a lot of people in the gaming space with a paywall,
The gaming space with the paywall.
you don't see much of that in the gaming space.
No, you don't.
I don't think that'd be very successful.
Absolutely. Nice try.
Exactly.
The last trend, I think, and this is, I think, a very dominant trend, and this has become quite different, is the importance of backlinks. And I really see the importance of backlinks is diminishing. Of course, backlinks are still important. It's a big wheel in the algorithm, but it's more about establishing a certain level of trust entice Google to start testing a domain more, and like more intensively in the SERPs. And then it's more about internal links, ensuring a good flow throughout the website. And this is what seems to really make the biggest impact today. I have a very interesting example, and this is actually from the gaming space, because I had this website from the gaming space, and he basically called me up. I'm sort of like in the customer success team, and he said, well, I was always ranking number one. I was just ranking after a core update. He got pushed to number one, also in the top 3 results. And now with the last update, he was pushed down to position 8, 9 kind of thing. And then he was like, well, I saw all these pages like passing me by, again, pushing me down. And all those pages that passed me by actually really put a lot of link building in place. Also really got a lot of new links. So this is what I did. And he basically bought links for $20,000, but actually it didn't move. He didn't move. He actually moved down to page 2. And he was like really desperate and like, really, what's going on here? And then we were looking in Google Search Console, what I mentioned in the beginning. This is where you should this is the single sort of truth for you, right? So looking in Google Search Console, I could actually see that with the first Google update, with the first core update, I could actually see that he was moved up to the top 3 spot, but for a period of 6 weeks before the next core update, when he got dropped, no user clicked on his result for a whole 6 weeks, right? And this is exactly what's going on. So and then he built all these links, and what do you think would happen? Google would say, well, I ranked you number 1, nobody clicked on your result, so I moved you down, but now you have all these shitty links, all these more shitty links, so let me rank you on to position number 1 again. Right? Yeah. Why? Nobody clicked on it, and this is clearly the case. I mean, in this case, it was also very easy explainable because it was sort of like another brand, like a main keyword with another brand. Obviously, the people were more like inclined to click on another brand, kind of thing. And this is what happened to him, sort of like a navigational query. And it's like really, really funny how this industry is still very much reliant on backlinks. While if you really look at the data, you see very little relevance in a lot of these spaces, but rather Google really like testing extensively, what is really the best result? Where do people click on? And I think this is the first point of relevance for Google, that somebody actually clicks on the result. And then obviously it's the whole 9 yards.
Now it's like the links are to get you in the top 3 pages. And then your performance is going to justify whether or not you stick around.
Exactly. Also, I would.
You still need those links to get into that area,
But I mean, this is coming from my limited experience in gaming. I could imagine that there's also some areas where Google is just not monetizing the SERPs. So, and always when Google is not monetizing SERPs, they also tend to use less computational resources on actually providing the best possible results. It's like in the adult space, right? In the adult space, you also don't have the panda, the penguin kind of stuff, because Google couldn't care less who ranks number 1 for, I don't even want to say some adult query, but this is it, right? They couldn't care less who ranks number 1 for MILF or whatever, right? MILF video.
And we saw this for a long time in the casino space, right? Like, poker could be really competitive because there was so much money being spent on it. There was television shows, there was all that. Mm-hmm. But then in the casino space, there was, it didn't matter. Like, those SERPs were still Wild West, fair game.
And also because they couldn't be monetized effectively. Yeah. I also saw this shift, especially with sports betting, which became where people could, in some country markets, could now book ads. And these SERPs became better because Google spent a lot more effort in actually providing clean SERPs and having like a good neighborhood, so to speak, for the ads actually to get into effect. But do you have more experience with? Also, do you also see the importance of backlinks diminishing? I mean, like, this is still a huge industry, But do you also see this diminishing?
I would say more so in like you mentioned, the legal markets, the clean markets. Yeah, I think there's still a bit of a punching match going on with people and links. in some of the grayer markets.
And I mean, the interesting thing is also there are no really like the legit links. Also, like I checked a lot of backlink profiles, you know, in my days, like trying to like help people disavowing and that kind of stuff, like really finding the goods. You know, it's like it's very hard to find these kind of gems. And then sometimes you think if Google would apply the same logic to gaming SERPs, there would be just completely unusable results for the user because even none of the big brands will rank anymore because everybody, you know, everybody is in this. I think they have to work with this.
Yeah, like U.S. facing gaming brands, those SERPs are ugly because it's that, right? It's like everybody's kind of outside of the law, and at the same time, there's like local advertisers that are putting a little bit of money into the SERP, so it's still competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, it's still more Wild West than anywhere else on the internet.
Definitely. So bad news for everybody still, you know, stuck in this, you know, still, you know, trying to, just not caring about the user and really trying to solve this with backlinks. This is
you can't just piss away. You can't just like throw, you know, 20, 30 grand at a link buy and see something happen. But that used to be the case, right? I mean, that was how it worked. Yeah.
And there might be still some people watching this and saying, hey, it still works for me, right? I mean, like, obviously, this could still work for you, but I think this is not a sustainable tactic.
Yeah, this isn't a future-forward thought.
Yeah, because Google always wants to become independent from sources that can be gamed from the outside. You know, it's really just about establishing trust, and then I will test it out myself. You know, I will see myself, you know, this is a good site, if this is legit, and I really just need this, maybe even just one link to really like show, okay, you could be good, right? On the other hand, you have a site that has 200 or 2,000 guestbook links, right? Where Google would think, well, everybody can make those. You know, I'm not gonna test you very extensively with these kinds of links. But if you have this one link from CBS, whatever, there might be a good chance that you're a legit site. And I know it's hard for gaining good links in that space, so I will test it out myself and really see what the fuzz is all about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could also be said that for genuinely good links, there is still space in gaming, you know?
Absolutely.
Because of that trust.
Absolutely.
This is harder than ever to get.
Yeah, more harder than ever. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This is definitely true. And we actually have a question from the audience, and this fits right well into this. What are the most important Google ranking factors? Is it keywords or link building, or maybe the content optimization, or D, all of the above? Right? I mean, like really, like build a site, focus on the user. Like really, if you want to rank for a specific query, like really take a look at the SERPs and like really see what can I do that I would have the best possible result. You know, looking at all the 10 results that are actually ranking right now, like saying, what can I do to be the #1 result? Can I have like really see this site is doing this good, this site has a good video, this site has very snackable content, you know, and they just throw it all together. Like really having the ambition to be the best result, not just building a site and let's see how we can rank it for like some terms, you know, like we did 20 years ago, but like really having the ambition to provide the best possible result for that query. And I would say that's it, you know, like the rest will come, you know, establish some credibility, establish some trust, you know, but it's not buying 20,000 links from shitty sources. This might only be one link where Google really says, well, I'm going to give this site a try. Let's try it out, right? Yeah. So I think this is the most important part. So good keyword research, like really like finding like the juicy keywords you really want to rank for, and then having the ambition is more important than any other tactic. Having the ambition to really be like trying to
really build a genuine positive result. Yeah.
So you would resonate this, or do you have it like for somebody starting out new in the gaming space? What would be your advice?
Yeah, I still think it's that, right? Like how can you be the best you can be for that answer? You know, what resources do you have to make that happen for you?
Yeah, what do you do different? Because this is like what's your USP like with the business? You know, what makes you unique among all these other guys? and this is also something you should bring to the table, because if everybody has the best poker bonus codes, right? I mean, it's
Right.
lots of sites with the best poker bonus codes, right?
Yeah.
And that won't help you. We got another question from the audience, and this is specifically for Bob. How was it working for Kelvin Air at Bodog back in the days?
It was crazy. It was terrifyingly crazy. I mean, it was fun, but at times you just really never knew what was going to happen next. I think it was also especially weird for me because we were buddies, you know, like, I mean, you remember this, Marcus. We'd go to conferences and he'd show up and it would be like, now I'm on the Calvin train, you know?
Yeah.
And,
I remember flying with a private jet to join us at Oktoberfest. So I never actually met him, and he just showed up to the restaurant, flew there with a private jet.
That's right. That was the year I talked him into sponsoring SEO October.
Ah, yeah, absolutely.
And then he ended up in
Aruba.
I'm trying to remember the tent, but we were all at a different tent.
Wilderer Stuben. That's sort of like where they eat wild. Wild is
Reindeer. Yeah.
deer. Really, you get a deer out of this? Really, out of my impression, you really
I figured it out.
This is why we've been doing this now for 15 years. You know me well.
Yeah, we've been hanging out a long time. I speak Marcus.
This is great. Yeah, and actually,
but Calvin's big into Bitcoin stuff now, right? That's his thing now.
Yeah, I see it on Facebook. Yeah, also he's. I have a bit of a Bitcoin, but I'm not actively pursuing it. I think.
There was that moment a few years ago when like every SEO seemed to feel like they knew everything about Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, crazy, the Bitcoin craze, and all the LinkedIn profiles of like Bitcoin investor and Bitcoin here, and everybody was doing something.
Blockchain expert.
Absolutely, everybody was doing something with the blockchain. Good old days. I mean, still very interesting, but obviously then, I just loved it. Like out of 10 requests on LinkedIn, 8 would be these kinds of guys, right? And now they're all selling leads, whatever. You probably have the same link.
Whatever the hustle is on LinkedIn this week.
Whatever the hustle is.
I think my best stories from Calvin were always ones where Calvin liked to fight, and I'm kind of a tough guy, so he would always want to test and see, what I would do in certain scenarios. Like, I think it was in Prague one time. I went to his hotel suite from like a conference party, and he snuck up behind me and hit me with a chair.
I don't even know that story. Holy shit!
Yeah. And then one time he was in a nice hotel suite or like an Airbnb, and he was trying to show how tough he was and kicked a chunk out of the coffee table, had on some big boots with wooden heels. And I was always just like, I think the saying is real bad boys move in silence, like if you're tough, you don't go around kicking chairs.
Yeah, I mean, like I would be like terrified, like crushing a chair over your head. It's like signing my my own death certificate right there.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, you were like, what the hell?
Yeah, I kind of moved out of the way just in the nick of time on accident, and I saw the chair hit the wall, and I was like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, jeez.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, wouldn't mess with that shit. So it's 2 p.m. I think we actually over time. I think this actually ended.
I think we did go over.
50 minutes ago. But as you can see, I mean, like we're so far away, and we actually don't talk as much right now. Normally we would be at this conference hanging out together the whole time. Now we have only like this precious amount of time. So you definitely see this, I guess. So I'm sorry for running over. There's more questions. I mean, I'm more than happy to stay a little bit and answer.
I think we're the last session of the day. So if you see something
good, so most people are like, okay, I'm gone. Enjoy.
I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm not getting any more questions here from Martin. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. This is this thing with virtual conferences. Yeah.
This is the first time you and I have ever spoken together at a virtual conference.
Absolutely. And I
And you and I
try to
just-
stay away from them. But when Rebecca Ligero, actually, she wrote both of us, and I'm like, normally I'm staying away from this, but of course I'm doing this with you. So again, thank you so much for having us, iGaming.
Yeah. Thanks.
And it was really fun. And I really hope we can do this in person again. And I'm really looking forward to the next iGaming conference in person. Let's all hope.
Yeah, that'd be nice. You and I, how many shows do you think we've done together?
Oh,
50, 100 maybe? Like,
yeah, I would have said 30 to 50. I mean, like, this was like back then the traveling circus, so to speak, like going from conference, the same people, just in another city, and especially gaming conferences, like jumping from Amsterdam, Cyprus,
Amsterdam, London. And I was always doing the Asian market stuff too, which
crazy.
You usually weren't on. That was a drag. Fly 24 hours to speak for 30 minutes.
Oh man. Yeah. Thank God. Yeah, no flying for 20 hours.
Yeah, which is great.
And iGaming.
Like, how do you get it? Are you sure you want to get up this early? I'm like, yeah, it's better than having to get up this early and go to the airport.
Absolutely. And flying 20 hours, and wow. It's like really giving me like sweaty hands and palms.
Yeah, I don't need to do that anymore.
So if there's no more questions, thank you so much for having us.
Thanks,
thank you so much
everybody.
for listening to us. I hope this was still interesting to you. If you think, these guys are bullshit, links still work, I would love to see that. I would really love to look at the data together with you and actually doing this. As I would really love to find like good cases. So reach out to us. My email is m@m.de. That's at least the shortest one. Or bobrains@gmail.com if you want to reach out to us, be our guest. Also, if you want to try right, obviously be my guest. I'm more than happy to set you up with a free version. Actually,
I'm open for at least one more gaming client. So if anyone's looking for an old school SEO, let me know.
Absolutely. And I can really attest, like, you're really one of the names, and that's been what you've done. I mean, like, I know a lot of the results you've provided, and I'm really like, holy shit, this is impressive. So like really, very, very, very interesting, especially because it's in a space where I'm normally not so active in. So it's really great to see people excelling in this competitive, like the most competitive industry overall. Other than that, connect us on LinkedIn. As long as you don't have Bitcoin investor in your LinkedIn bio, it's cool. We hope to hear from anyone. That's all.
Yeah. Thanks, iGaming Next.
Yeah. And thank you, Gaming Next. And and to you, probably good night. You can go to sleep now.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to bed.
Great.
Sleep
Then
for a
have a
couple
good.
hours before my day starts.
Awesome. And then we catch up at a later time. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. See you, everybody.
Thank you, Marcus and Bob, for summing up the day two, our marketing day. And it's been such a great day again, hasn't it, Pierre?
Yes. Yeah, I love that was the longest goodbye ever in a panel, I think, by marketing. But I love what Bob was saying. Like, real bad boys move in silence. That's the quote of the entire event.
That's the quote of the whole event. Well, thank you guys so much for that. So yeah, it's been a great day. Tomorrow we have day 3 to look forward to, our HR dedicated day, which I'm looking forward to a lot myself. So we have a great lineup ready to go. We can look forward to a fireside chat given by Fiona Edwins-Brown, who's CHRO at Catena Media. She's joined by Lisette Sutherland, who's director at Collaboration Superpower, and they're going to be talking about their best tools to optimize remote HR work. We can also look forward to a keynote speech given by Navid Nassemian, who is global HR head and executive coach at Vodafone. So that will be quite interesting to hear what he has to say. So yeah, for everyone who's joining us today as well, I just want to remind you quickly about our session roundtables. So after today, you can join the roundtables and have a bit of a mingle and networking with other attendees from this event. And we also have the networking function where you will be randomly selected and put together with another person from the event for 2 minutes, and then it will switch to another person. So yeah, a very quick and modern way to network. So don't miss out on this function. Pierre, from a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about tomorrow's HR day?
Yeah. I mean, it's a 10. I mean, obviously, it's an event we've been planning for a long time. I'm as excited as I can be. But you know what I'm most excited for, actually, Alice? I mean, it's your mother is talking tomorrow as well.
That is correct.
Lena is participating too. It's a whole family event tomorrow. That will be a fun session too.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to that. Some discussion about remote onboarding,
yes.
which is going to be very interesting to hear about. So yes, looking forward to that. So guys, see you tomorrow, 10 o'clock. We're going to have an opening speech. So see you tomorrow. Enjoy your afternoon, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Alice.
Thanks, Pierre.
Bye.
Woo.